The small ship drifted silently through the darkness of space. Inside, Lyra held her daughter Nima close to her chest. Lyra's skin glowed with soft blue and purple colors that changed like the ocean waves on her home planet. Her long, thin fingers stroked Nima's head, where small glowing tendrils that looked like hair gave off a faint amber light. "We will find safety, little one," Lyra whispered. Her voice had a musical quality, like several notes playing at once. She looked out the window at the unfamiliar stars and tried to hide her fear. Their homeworld, Valen, was gone now. The Craxus Empire had come with their massive warships and deadly weapons. They wanted the rich minerals and strange energy sources that made Valen special. The attack had been sudden and brutal. Families were torn apart as they ran for the escape ships. Lyra remembered the chaos all too clearly. The sky had turned red with fire. Buildings that had stood for thousands of years crumbled in seconds. Her bondmate, Keltor, had pushed them toward the small escape pod as the royal palace guards fought to hold back the invaders. "Take Nima and go," Keltor had shouted, pressing a small crystal into Lyra's hand. "This contains our people's history and the maps to our sanctuary worlds. I must stay and make sure the ancient artifacts are secure. I will find you, I promise." That was the last she had seen of him. The escape pod had launched automatically, shooting away from the planet just as the Craxus ships began to target fleeing vessels. By some miracle, their tiny craft had escaped notice in the confusion. But now, 3 months later, that luck was running out. The ship's computer spoke in its flat, emotionless voice. "Warning. Oxygen levels critical. Life support failing. Emergency protocols recommended." Lyra touched the control panel, her fingers dancing across symbols that glowed in response. The ship's systems were simple but elegant, designed to respond to the unique energy patterns of Valenian touch. The display showed what she already knew. They were lost in an uncharted sector, far from any known civilizations that might help them. Nima stirred in her arms, her 6-fingered hand clutching the memory crystal that contained the last images of their home and family. Though only 5 cycles old, equivalent to a human 5-year-old, Nima understood enough to be frightened. "Mother, I'm cold," she said, her child's voice containing the same musical tones as her mother's, though higher and simpler. "I know, sweet one. The ship is trying to save power." Lyra adjusted the thermal blanket around her daughter. The temperature had been dropping steadily as the ship diverted energy to essential systems. Like all Valenians, both Lyra and Nima possessed mild telepathic abilities. They could sense emotions and simple thoughts from nearby minds. But here in the emptiness between star systems, there were no minds to reach out to. The silence in their heads was almost as frightening as their physical situation. Lyra touched her forehead to Nima's, sharing a moment of mental connection that comforted them both. In that sharing, she carefully hid her deepest fears, showing her daughter only confidence and love. "Tell me again about the sanctuary worlds," Nima asked, a question she had repeated often during their long drift through space. Lyra smiled, her lips taking on a slight glow like the rest of her skin. "They are beautiful places hidden from the Craxus by ancient technology. There are 3 of them, each more wonderful than the last. The first has oceans that sing with the voices of giant creatures that swim in the deep waters. The second has forest where the trees grow so tall they touch the clouds, and their leaves change colors with your mood. The third," a harsh alarm cut through her words. The ship jerked suddenly, throwing them against the padded wall of the small cabin. "Alert. Critical system failure. Reactor containment unstable." Lyra moved quickly, placing Nima in a small chair designed for her size. "Stay here, little star. I must check the engine room." The engine room was barely large enough for Lyra to stand in. The escape pod had never been designed for long journeys. Its quantum reactor, normally stable enough to run for years without maintenance, was showing dangerous energy spikes. Without proper tools or training, there was little Lyra could do to fix it. She returned to the main cabin where Nima sat wide-eyed with fear. "What's happening, Mother?" Lyra knelt beside her daughter. "The ship is very tired, just like we are. It has carried us far, but now it needs to rest. Are we going to die?" Nima asked directly with the innocent bluntness of a child. "No," Lyra said firmly. "We are going to sleep for a while, and when we wake up, things will be better." She returned to the control panel and activated the emergency stasis protocol, a last resort that would place them in a deep biological suspension. It would preserve their lives but came with risks of permanent neural damage if extended too long. Still, it was their only chance. The ship will continue to send out a distress signal, she explained to Nima, helping her into one of the two crystalline pods that had emerged from the wall. Someone kind might find us. What if the Kraxus find us instead? Nima's tendrils dimmed with fear. The stasis fields mask our life signs, Lyra assured her, though she wasn't entirely certain this was true, and we are very far from where they last saw us. As Nima settled into her pod, Lyra took the memory crystal from her daughter's hand and placed it in a special compartment in the ship's console. The crystal began to glow more brightly, interfacing with the ship's systems to boost the distress signal. Lyra then climbed into her own stasis pod next to her daughter's. As the transparent covers began to close over them, Lyra reached out and took Nima's small hand in hers. "I will sing you to sleep," she said, and began an ancient lullaby of her people, one that spoke of hope finding its way through the darkest nights. Her voice rose and fell in complex patterns that human ears would find strange but beautiful. Stars above and stars below, guide our path where we must go. Though darkness seems to have no end, light will come around the bend. Sleep now, child of starlight born, you'll wake to see a brighter morn. As the cryogenic mist filled their pods, Nima's eyes grew heavy. The last thing she saw before falling into stasis was her mother's face, serene and beautiful. Still singing, though no sound now reached Nima's ears. The ship grew silent except for the soft hum of the stasis pods and the steady beep of the distress signal pulsing outward into the void. For days, then weeks, then months, the small vessel continued its aimless drift through the cold emptiness, its precious cargo suspended between life and death, waiting for either rescue or the final failure of its systems. And somewhere, far away but drawing nearer, the sensors of an Earth exploration vessel picked up a strange, repeating signal that didn't match any known pattern in its database. Lieutenant Olivia Nash floated in the control room of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. Her fingers moved quickly over the glowing screens that showed maps of stars and space. At 34, she was one of the youngest deep space navigators in the Earth fleet. She had short brown hair and bright eyes that noticed things others missed. The Horizon was not a warship. It was built to explore and make maps of unknown parts of space. The ship had been in the Perseus arm for 3 weeks, studying strange gravity patterns that might lead to new discoveries. Olivia tapped a section of the map where something unusual had appeared. "That's odd," she said to herself. The sensors had picked up a faint energy signal that didn't match any known pattern. She adjusted the sensors to focus on the area and called to her captain. "Captain Lane, I'm picking up something strange at coordinates 227 Mark 43. It looks like a small ship, but it doesn't match any design in our database." Captain Samantha Lane floated over to Olivia's station. She was a tall woman with dark skin and hair going gray at the temples. She had been captain of the Horizon for 15 years and had seen many strange things in space. "How far away is it?" she asked, looking at the readings. "About 6 hours at standard speed," Olivia replied. "The energy signature suggests it's been drifting for at least 3 months. There are life signs, but they're very faint." Captain Lane frowned. "It could be a trap. The Arcturus pirates have been known to use derelict ships as bait." "This doesn't look like their style," Olivia said. "The design is... I've never seen anything like it. It's almost organic, like it was grown rather than built." The captain thought for a moment, then nodded. "Set course to intercept, but maintain safe distance. Send out a reconnaissance drone first. Standard first contact protocols apply." The Horizon changed direction, its engines humming with quiet power as it moved toward the mysterious signal. The crew prepared for a possible first contact situation. They had trained for this, but few had ever experienced a real meeting with a new alien species. 4 hours later, the reconnaissance drone was launched. It was a small, unmanned craft fitted with cameras and sensors. It would approach the alien vessel and send back images and data without risking the crew. Olivia watched her screen as the first images came through. The alien ship was beautiful in a strange way. It had smooth, curved lines that reminded her of seashells or flower petals. Its hull was a pale blue-green color that seemed to glow faintly. But there were also dark scorch marks along one side, and parts of it looked damaged. "Those are weapon marks," said Security Chief Reed, pointing at the screen. That ship was in a battle. The drone circled the vessel, sending back more images. It was small, perhaps only big enough for 2 or 3 people. Its propulsion system was unlike anything in the Earth database, with no visible engines or thrusters. "Life support systems are failing," reported Dr. Maya Rivera, the ship's chief medical officer. She studied the readings from her station. If there's anyone alive in there, they won't be for long without help. Olivia felt a strange pull toward the alien craft. She couldn't explain it, but something about it called to her. Captain, request permission to lead the boarding party. Captain Lane looked surprised. Olivia wasn't usually part of boarding missions. Her job was navigation and stellar mapping, but there was a determination in the lieutenant's eyes that made the captain consider it. Why you, Lieutenant Nash? Olivia hesitated. I'm not sure, Captain. Call it intuition. I feel like I'm supposed to be the one to make contact. After a moment, Captain Lane nodded. Very well. But you'll take Chief Reed and Dr. Rivera with you. Full quarantine protocols apply. At the first sign of trouble, you return immediately. Is that clear? Yes, Captain, Olivia said, already moving toward the equipment room where the EVA suits were kept. 30 minutes later, Olivia, Chief Reed, and Dr. Rivera were in the Horizon shuttle, approaching the alien vessel. Up close, it was even stranger than it had appeared on the screens. The hull material seemed to pulse slightly, almost like it was breathing. I've never seen anything like this, Dr. Rivera said, her voice filled with wonder. The hull appears to be partly organic. It might be able to repair itself in the right conditions. Chief Reed was more concerned with security. How do we get in? I don't see anything that looks like a door or airlock. Olivia guided the shuttle around the alien craft, looking for an entry point. As they passed near what seemed to be the front of the vessel, a section of the hull suddenly changed color, shifting from blue-green to a softer purple. I think it's responding to our presence, Olivia said. She moved the shuttle closer to that section. To their amazement, the purple area began to part, opening like the petals of a flower to reveal an entrance just large enough for their shuttle to dock with. It's inviting us in, Dr. Rivera whispered. Chief Reed checked his weapon. Or it's a trap. Olivia carefully aligned their shuttle with the opening. With a soft thud and a hiss of connecting seals, they docked successfully. Atmosphere reads as breathable but with unknown compounds, Dr. Rivera reported, checking her instruments. We should keep our helmets on until we're sure it's safe. They entered the alien ship through the docking port, their helmet lights illuminating the interior. Inside, the walls glowed with a soft blue light that pulsed gently like a heartbeat. The corridors were smooth and curved, with no sharp angles anywhere. It's beautiful, Olivia said, her voice quiet with awe. Chief Reed remained alert, his eyes scanning for any threats. Stay focused. We don't know what we're dealing with here. They moved deeper into the ship, following the pulsing lights that seemed to grow brighter ahead of them. The air was filled with a sweet, unfamiliar smell that even their suit filters couldn't completely block. Finally, they reached what appeared to be the central chamber of the small ship. The room was circular, with the pulsing lights converging on two crystal-like structures in the center. Inside each structure was a figure, motionless but clearly visible. They're stasis pods, Dr. Rivera said, approaching carefully. Highly advanced technology. The beings inside are in some form of suspended animation. Olivia moved closer to look at the figures inside. The larger one appeared female with a slender humanoid body. Her skin was a shifting pattern of blue and purple colors, almost like the northern lights on Earth. Instead of hair, she had glowing tendrils that floated around her head. Beside her, in the smaller pod, was what appeared to be a child of the same species with similar features but smaller. They're alive, Dr. Rivera confirmed, reading the data on her scanner. But their life signs are extremely weak. The stasis field is failing as the ship loses power. Olivia felt a strange sensation like a whisper in her mind. She stepped closer to the pods, drawn by something she couldn't explain. We need to help them, she said firmly. Dr. Rivera, can you figure out how to safely deactivate these stasis fields? The doctor studied the controls near the pods. I'll need time. This technology is far beyond ours. One wrong move could kill them instead of saving them. Do whatever you can, Olivia said. I'll contact the Horizon for additional support. As she turned to communicate with the ship, she noticed something glowing on a console near the stasis pods. It was a crystal, similar to the ones used in the pods, but smaller. It pulsed with energy, and as Olivia looked at it, she felt that strange whisper in her mind again. Stronger this time. Without thinking, she reached out toward it. Lieutenant, don't touch that, Chief Reed warned. But Olivia's fingers had already brushed against the crystal. Immediately, a series of lights activated throughout the ship and the stasis pods began to glow more brightly. "What did you do?" Dr. Rivera asked, rushing to check her readings. "I don't know," Olivia admitted. "It was like it called to me." The crystal pulsed once more, then projected a holographic display above the console. Strange symbols flowed across it, changing rapidly. "I think it's some kind of interface," Dr. Rivera said. "It might be trying to communicate." As they watched, the symbols changed to English letters, arranging themselves into words. "Help us." Olivia stared at the words floating in the air. "Help us." The crystal continued to pulse, the light matching the rhythm of her heartbeat. "How is it writing in English?" Chief Reed asked, his hand still on his weapon. Dr. Rivera moved her scanner over the crystal. "It might be reading our language from our communication systems, or—" She hesitated. "It might be reading our minds." The idea should have frightened Olivia, but somehow it didn't. The presence she felt was not threatening. It felt desperate and afraid, but not dangerous. "Dr. Rivera, we need to get them out of stasis now," Olivia said. "The ship is losing power fast." The doctor nodded and began working with the controls near the stasis pods. After several tense minutes, she looked up. "I think I've figured it out. The system is actually quite logical once you understand the basic principles, but I'm concerned about bringing them out too quickly. The shock could kill them. What do you suggest?" Olivia asked. "A gradual awakening. First, we stabilize the power to the pods, then slowly reduce the stasis effect over 20 minutes. Dr. Rivera tapped commands into her medical tablet, which she had connected to the alien systems. Chief Reed spoke into his comm unit. "Read to Horizon. We found 2 alien life forms in stasis. Request medical team standing by in Quarantine Bay. Also need engineering support to stabilize power systems on the alien vessel." Captain Lane's voice came through clearly. "Understood. What's their condition?" "Alive but critical," Dr. Rivera answered. "They appear to be a mother and child. Their biology is humanoid but with significant differences. I'll need special equipment to monitor them during transport." "Prepare to receive the medical team," Captain Lane ordered. "And Lieutenant Nash, what's your assessment of any potential threat?" Olivia considered her answer carefully. "No signs of weapons or aggressive technology, Captain. The ship appears to be a small escape craft, not a military vessel, and—" She glanced at the crystal that had called to her. "I believe they're asking for our help." The next hour was a blur of activity. The engineering team arrived and set up portable power units to stabilize the failing systems. Dr. Rivera worked to carefully bring the aliens out of stasis, monitoring their life signs constantly. Through it all, Olivia stayed near the crystal, which continued to pulse in time with her heart. Finally, Dr. Rivera announced, "We're ready to complete the awakening process. Everyone stand back. We don't know how they'll react." The crystal's pulsing grew faster as the stasis fields began to fade. The liquid-like substance inside the pods drained away, leaving the 2 aliens lying on the platforms. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the adult alien's eyes snapped open. Her eyes were the most striking feature Olivia had ever seen. They had no whites or pupils like human eyes. Instead, they were filled with swirling patterns of deep purple and silver, like tiny galaxies. The alien mother immediately reached for her child, who still hadn't moved. Her movements were weak but determined. "It's okay," Olivia said, stepping forward despite Chief Reed's warning hand. "We're here to help you." The alien woman's head turned toward Olivia's voice. Her glowing tendrils brightened slightly, and Olivia felt that strange whisper in her mind again, stronger now. It wasn't words exactly, more like feelings and images, fear, gratitude, and desperate concern for the child. Dr. Rivera moved to check the child's life signs. "The little one is stable but very weak. We need to get them both to our medical bay immediately." The alien mother tried to speak, but only a strange musical sound came out. She looked frustrated, then closed her eyes in concentration. When she opened them again, she pointed to the crystal and then to her head. "I think she wants you to bring the crystal," Dr. Rivera said to Olivia. "It might help her communicate." Olivia carefully picked up the crystal. It felt warm in her hand, and the pulsing matched her heartbeat exactly. She brought it to the alien mother, who placed one 6-fingered hand on it and the other on Olivia's wrist. Immediately, Olivia's mind was filled with images and emotions. A beautiful world with blue skies and strange floating cities, terrible ships appearing in the sky, fire and destruction, a desperate escape, and months of drifting in space. They're refugees, Olivia gasped. Their world was attacked. They barely escaped. The alien mother nodded, her galaxy eyes fixed on Olivia's face. Then, to everyone's shock, she spoke in halting but understandable English. You, not Craxus. Your mind. Different. Her voice had a musical quality, as if multiple tones were being produced at once. Olivia removed her helmet, showing her face in a gesture of trust. Chief Reed started to protest but stopped when he saw the alien's tendrils brighten in what seemed like relief. My name is Olivia Nash. We're from Earth. We found your ship adrift. The alien nodded slowly. I am Lyra. This is Nima. She gestured to the child who was starting to stir. Our world, gone, the Craxus Empire, comes for yours next. Chief Reed stepped forward. What's the Craxus Empire? Lyra's face showed fear. Destroyers. They take everything. No mercy. Nima's eyes opened then, the same galaxy pattern as her mother's, but with more amber and gold swirls than purple. She made a small musical sound and reached for her mother. Lyra gathered her close, the tendrils of both aliens intertwining. We need to move them now, Dr. Rivera insisted. Their condition is still critical. Carefully, they helped Lyra and Nima onto stretchers. Lyra kept hold of the crystal, which now pulsed in time with both her heartbeat and Olivia's. As they moved toward the shuttle, Nima's small hand reached out and touched Olivia's arm. Instantly, Olivia felt a child's mind touch hers, curious, frightened, but also strangely trusting. Images flowed between them. Nima's memories of her home, Olivia's memories of Earth's oceans and forests. There was no language barrier in this direct sharing of experiences. It's okay, Olivia whispered to the child. You're safe now. Back on the horizon, the medical team worked quickly to stabilize the two aliens. Their biology was similar enough to humans that basic treatments were possible, but different enough to require careful monitoring. Lyra and Nima were placed in a quarantine bay that had been quickly adapted for their needs. Captain Lane called Olivia to her office after the initial medical report. They're going to survive, the captain said without preamble. Dr. Rivera says they're responding well to treatment. But now we have a situation. These are the first alien refugees we've ever encountered, and they're warning about some empire we've never heard of. Olivia nodded. The Craxus Empire, according to Lyra. They destroyed her world and are apparently expanding in this direction. And there's the matter of your connection with them. Captain Lane continued, looking uncomfortable. Dr. Rivera reports that both aliens seem to have telepathic abilities, and for some reason they've formed a strong link with you specifically. I can't explain it, Captain, Olivia admitted. From the moment I detected their ship, I felt drawn to them. When I touch the crystal or when Nima touches me, we can share thoughts and images. It's like finding a piece of yourself you didn't know was missing. Captain Lane sighed. This goes beyond first contact protocols. I've sent a priority message to Earth Command, but it will be days before we get a response. Until then, I want you to continue working with our guests. Learn everything you can about the Craxus Empire and any potential threat to Earth. Yes, Captain, Olivia said. Permission to return to the medical bay? Captain Lane nodded. Granted. But Lieutenant, be careful. We don't fully understand what's happening here. Olivia returned to the quarantine bay to find Lyra sitting up in her bed. The alien woman looked much better already, her skin glowing more brightly and her tendrils moving with more energy. Nima was asleep in a smaller bed nearby. Olivia Nash, Lyra said, her English noticeably improved. Thank you for saving us. How are you speaking our language so quickly? Olivia asked, sitting in a chair beside the bed. Lyra touched the crystal which rested on a small table between them. This helps. It stores a knowledge and your mind. Open to mine. I learned from you. What exactly is this crystal? Olivia asked. Memory stone, Lyra explained. My people used to store information, history. This one special, royal crystal, contains coordinates to sanctuary worlds. Her face grew sad. My bondmate gave before we escaped. He stayed to fight. Olivia felt a wave of sympathy. Your husband stayed behind. Lyra nodded. Keltor, Royal Guard captain. He promised, find us. But Craxus Empire destroyed everything. Tell me about the Craxus, Olivia said gently. Why do they attack other worlds? Lyra's galaxy eyes darkened. They take resources. All resources. Strip planets bare. Use people as slaves. They believe. Universe belongs to them alone. As Lyra spoke, Nima stirred in her sleep, making small distressed sounds. Immediately, Lyra's tendrils extended toward her daughter, glowing softly. The child calmed. She has nightmares, Lyra explained. Saw too much. For one so young. Olivia looked at the sleeping child, feeling a strange protectiveness she couldn't explain. We'll keep you both safe, she promised. And we'll warn Earth about the Craxus. Lyra's expression became urgent. Not just warn, prepare, Craxus coming. This sector, next in their path. They will not stop. Captain Lane called an emergency meeting of the Horizon senior officers. They gathered around the conference table, faces serious as they looked at the holographic display showing the star map of their current sector. Lieutenant Nash, please brief everyone on what you've learned from our guests, the captain said. Olivia stood and pointed to a region of space beyond the Perseus arm. According to Lyra, the Craxus Empire controls this entire region. They're an expansionist civilization with highly advanced technology. Their strategy is to identify resource-rich worlds, attack without warning, strip the planets of everything valuable, and either enslave or eliminate the native populations. Chief Reed frowned. How do we know she's telling the truth? This could be an elaborate trick. I've been in direct telepathic contact with both Lyra and Nima, Olivia replied. The images and emotions I've received are genuine. Their fear is real, and their memories of the destruction are too vivid to be fabricated. Dr. Rivera nodded in agreement. Their physical condition also supports their story. Both showed signs of trauma and long-term stress consistent with refugees. And the damage to their ship matches Lyra's account of escaping during an attack. The question is, what do we do with this information? Asked Commander Patel, the ship's executive officer. Earth is 5 weeks away at our top speed. If the Craxus are as dangerous as Lyra claims, we need to warn Earth immediately. Captain Lane touched a control, and the star map zoomed out to show their position relative to Earth. I've already sent a priority message, but at this distance it will take days to reach Earth Command. We need to gather more concrete evidence of this threat. Lyra has offered to help, Olivia said. The memory crystal she carries contains detailed information about Craxus technology, weapons, and tactics. She's willing to share everything if we help protect her and Nima. And take them to Earth? Commander Patel asked. Olivia nodded. That's her hope. She believes her people and humans could form an alliance against the Craxus. Captain Lane made her decision. Our primary mission remains the same, to return to Earth with this critical information. Lieutenant Nash, you'll continue working with Lyra to extract all useful intelligence from the memory crystal. Dr. Rivera, focus on getting our guests back to full health. Commander Patel, plot the fastest course back to Earth. As the meeting ended, Olivia returned to the medical bay. Lyra was sitting cross-legged on her bed, the crystal in her hands, while Nima played with a puzzle one of the crew had given her. The child's tendrils glowed brightly with concentration as she figured out how the pieces fit together. Lyra looked up as Olivia entered. Her English was improving rapidly through the combination of the crystal's assistance and her telepathic connection with Olivia. Your captain has decided? She asked. We're heading back to Earth, Olivia confirmed. We'll take you with us. Relief showed in Lyra's galaxy eyes. Thank you. Earth is far from Craxus territory, maybe safe for Nima. She hesitated, then added, but no place truly safe if Craxus keep expanding. That's why we need everything you can tell us about them, Olivia said, sitting beside the bed. Weaknesses, vulnerabilities, anything that might help us defend ourselves. Lyra held out the crystal. This contains battle records, ship designs, tactical analyses. My people fought Craxus for many cycles before falling. We learned much, but not enough. As Olivia reached for the crystal, the ship's alarm suddenly blared. Captain Lane's voice came over the comm system. All hands to battle stations. Unidentified vessels approaching at high speed. Lyra's face went pale, her skin losing its glow. They found us, she whispered. Olivia rushed to the nearest communication panel. Nash to bridge. What's happening? 3 ships just appeared on long-range sensors, Commander Patel replied. They don't match any known configuration in our database. Scan for quantum displacement signatures, Olivia said urgently, remembering what Lyra had told her. Craxus ships use a unique form of faster-than-light travel. A moment later, Captain Lane's voice returned. Confirmed. The energy signatures match what Lyra described. They're Craxus vessels and they're on an intercept course. Olivia turned to Lyra, who was holding Nima close. The child was trembling, her tendrils dim with fear. How did they find us? Olivia asked. Lyra touched the crystal. This royal crystal has unique energy signature. Craxus can track across great distances. I thought. We were too far. I was wrong. Chief Reed appeared at the door of the medical bay, his face grim. Lieutenant Nash, the captain wants you on the bridge. And bring our guests. We need their knowledge now. On the bridge, the main screen showed 3 sleek, predatory-looking vessels rapidly approaching the horizon. They were black, with glowing red patterns along their hulls, and their design was unlike anything Earth ships had encountered before. Estimated time to intercept? Captain Lane asked. 17 minutes at their current speed, replied the tactical officer. The Horizon is a science vessel, Commander Patel reminded everyone. Our weapons are minimal, designed for clearing space debris, not combat. Captain Lane turned to Lyra, who stood clutching Nima's hand. Can we outrun them? Lyra shook her head. Craxus pursuit ships faster than any vessel I have seen. They will catch you. What about fighting? Chief Reed asked. Do they have weaknesses? Their shield's strongest at front, Lyra explained, moving to the tactical display. Side projections weaker. And there is blind spot, here. She pointed to an area near the engine section of the Craxus ships. Their sensors cannot see directly behind engine radiation. Captain Lane nodded to the tactical officer. Adjust our defensive strategy accordingly. It won't be enough, Lyra said sadly. Your weapon's too weak against their shields. They will disable your ship, board, take what they want. Olivia felt a tug on her hand. Nima was looking up at her, the child's galaxy eyes swirling with intensity. When their skin touched, Olivia received a clear image, the memory crystal glowing brightly, then sending out a pulse that disrupted the approaching ships. The crystal, Olivia said suddenly. Nima thinks it can be used as a weapon. Lyra looked surprised, then thoughtful. Yes. Royal crystals contain vast energy, could be reconfigured to create quantum pulse. Might disrupt Craxus shield harmonics. How do we do that? Captain Lane asked. Need to connect to your ship's communication array, Lyra explained. Crystal will amplify signal, create targeted pulse, but... She hesitated. Using crystal this way will destroy it. All data inside, all history of my people, coordinates to sanctuary worlds, will be lost. The gravity of this sacrifice was clear on Lyra's face. The crystal was her last connection to her home, her culture, her missing bondmate. It contained the only map to where other survivors might have escaped. Nima looked up at her mother and spoke for the first time in front of the humans. Her voice was like wind chimes, musical and clear. We must help them, Mother. Like they helped us. Lyra knelt down and touched her forehead to her daughters. Their tendrils intertwined in what was clearly an intimate gesture of connection. After a moment, Lyra stood. We will do it, she said firmly. Better to lose our past than have no future. Captain Lane nodded solemnly. Thank you. Engineering work with Lyra to connect the crystal to our communications array. As the crew rushed to implement the plan, the tactical officer called out, Craxus ships accelerating. New intercept time, 8 minutes. The next few minutes were a blur of activity. Lyra worked with the engineering team, her 6-fingered hands moving with surprising dexterity as she helped reconfigure the ship's systems to work with the alien crystal. They're charging weapons, the tactical officer announced. Intercept in 3 minutes. Olivia stayed with Nima while Lyra worked. The child was frightened but brave, her small hand holding tightly to Olivia's. Will it work? Olivia asked softly. Nima nodded. Mother knows. Crystal listens to royal blood. Finally, Lyra returned to the bridge. Ready, she said simply. Crystal connected to array. When activated, we'll send pulse targeted at Craxus shield frequencies. They're in range, the tactical officer reported. They're hailing us. On screen, Captain Lane ordered. The main display changed to show the interior of the lead Craxus ship. A figure stood there, humanoid but with gray, almost metallic skin and eyes that glowed red. When it spoke, its voice was cold and mechanical. Attention, unknown vessel. You have stolen property belonging to the Craxus Empire. Surrender the Valinian royals and the memory crystal immediately, or be destroyed. Captain Lane stood tall. This is Captain Samantha Lane of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We have granted asylum to these refugees. We will not surrender them. The Craxus commander's eyes narrowed. Then you will share their fate. All who oppose the Craxus Empire are eliminated. The screen went dark. They're charging main weapons, the tactical officer shouted. Activate the crystal now, Captain Lane ordered. Lyra placed her hands on the crystal, which was now connected to the ship's systems by a web of cables. She closed her eyes and began to sing a strange, haunting melody. The crystal glowed brighter and brighter, pulsing in time with her song. Nima joined her mother, adding her higher voice to the melody. Their tendrils glowed with intense light as they channeled their energy into the crystal. 3 weeks had passed since the encounter with the Craxus ships. The Horizon continued its journey toward Earth, moving as fast as its engines would allow. The crew had settled into a new routine, with Lyra and Nima gradually becoming part of the ship's community. Lyra worked with the science team, sharing her knowledge of space phenomena and advanced technologies. Her quick mind and different perspective led to several breakthroughs in the ship's systems, making the Horizon faster and more efficient. Nima split her time between learning about human culture and teaching crew members about her own. The child's natural curiosity and telepathic abilities made her a bridge between the two species. She was particularly fascinated by Earth music and art, which she experienced through the ship's database. Olivia had become the aliens' closest friend and advocate. The telepathic connection she shared with them had grown stronger, allowing more complex communication and deeper understanding. Today, she sat with Nima in the ship's observation lounge, looking out at the stars streaking by. "Will I like Earth?" Nima asked, her galaxy eyes reflecting the starlight. "I think you will," Olivia replied. "We have oceans like you had on Valen, though ours don't sing. And we have forests and mountains and deserts, all kinds of different places." Nima's tendrils glowed with excitement. "Mother says humans are very diverse." "Many colors and shapes and ideas," Olivia nodded. "That's true. We don't all look the same or think the same, but we're all human. Like Valenians," Nima said thoughtfully. "We had many colors too. My friend Tella had green skin that changed to gold in sunlight." A shadow passed over the child's face as she remembered her lost friend. Olivia felt the sadness through their connection and gently changed the subject. "Would you like to see more pictures of Earth? I have some from my hometown." Before Nima could answer, the ship's alarm sounded. Captain Lane's voice came over the communication system. "All senior officers to the bridge immediately. Lieutenant Nash, bring our guests." Olivia and Nima hurried to the bridge, meeting Lyra on the way. When they arrived, the mood was tense. The main screen showed a disturbing sight, a massive Craxus warship blocking their path. "It appeared from nowhere," Commander Patel explained. "One moment our path was clear, the next it was there. It must have some kind of advanced cloaking technology." "Not cloaking," Lyra said, her voice tight with fear. "Dimensional shift. They travel through subspace, emerge wherever they choose. That is their flagship, the Dominion, most powerful vessel in Craxus' fleet." The ship was enormous, at least 10 times the size of the Horizon. Its black hull was covered with the same red energy patterns they had seen on the smaller vessels. But these pulsed with much greater intensity. Weapon ports lined its surface, all clearly aimed at the Horizon. "They're hailing us," the communications officer reported. Captain Lane straightened her uniform. On screen, the image that appeared was not what they expected. Instead of the metallic-skinned commander they had seen before, a human man stood on the Craxus bridge. He was tall with dark hair going gray at the temples, and he wore what appeared to be a modified version of a Craxus uniform. "Captain Lane," he said with a cold smile. "I am Admiral Voss, formerly of Earth Defense Force, now Supreme Commander of the Craxus Expansion Fleet." The bridge crew exchanged shocked glances. "A human working for the Craxus?" "Admiral Voss," Captain Lane replied, keeping her voice steady. "You're a long way from Earth." "As are you," Voss said. "But I'm not here to discuss Earth. I'm here for the Valenian royals and any information they've shared with you." Lyra stepped forward, her face showing no fear now, only anger. "Traitor to your own kind," she said to Voss. "You lead Craxus to human worlds next?" Voss laughed. "Your species was weak, Lyra of House Vale. Humans are not. We will be partners with the Craxus, not their victims." "Partners?" Captain Lane asked. "Or servants." "Visionaries," Voss corrected. "I've seen the future, Captain. The Craxus will continue to expand with or without human help. I chose to secure humanity's place in that future." His eyes narrowed. "Now enough talk. Surrender the Valenians and all data they've provided, and your crew will be spared." Captain Lane didn't hesitate. "We don't surrender refugees to their persecutors, Admiral. Earth has principles even if you've forgotten them. boss sighed dramatically. Always the idealists. Very well. He turned to someone off-screen. Prepare to disable their engines and bring them in. The screen went dark. Options? Captain Lane asked, looking around the bridge. We can't outrun them or outfight them, Commander Patel said grimly. Chief Reed added, and we destroyed our only weapon against their shields when we used the crystal. All eyes turned to Lyra, who stood with one arm around Nima. The alien woman's face was determined. There is one possibility, she said, but very dangerous. We're listening, Captain Lane said. Krax's flagship uses dimensional shift technology, creates temporary corridor through subspace. If we can enter corridor before it closes and match their shift frequency, we could escape. Could we make it to Earth that way? Commander Patel asked. Lyra shook her head. No control over destination. Could emerge anywhere, but better than capture. Captain Lane considered this. How do we enter their corridor? And how do we match their frequency? For corridor must move exactly where their ship was when it emerged. Trail is still fresh, subspace distortion still active. Lyra moved to the science station and began adjusting controls. For frequency, I can help. Phalinian's naturally sensitive to subspace harmonics. With ship sensors boosted, I can detect pattern. That's still incredibly risky, Commander Patel pointed out. We could end up anywhere in the galaxy. Or worse. They're charging weapons, the tactical officer reported urgently. Captain Lane made her decision. Helm, take us to the exact coordinates Lyra specifies. Engineering boost sensor sensitivity to maximum. Let's do this. As the crew rushed to implement the plan, Olivia felt a tug on her mind. Nima was trying to communicate telepathically. When she opened her thoughts to the child, she received a clear message. Nima could help. Captain, Olivia said. Nima says she can strengthen our chances. Apparently, children of the royal line have enhanced abilities with subspace energies. Lyra looked surprised, then proud. Yes, this is true. Nima's ability still developing, but stronger than mine in some ways. What do you need? Captain Lane asked the child directly. Nima stepped forward, suddenly seeming older than her years. Need to touch ship's central computer. Connect directly. Captain Lane nodded to Olivia. Take her to the main computer core. Stay with her. As Olivia and Nima hurried to the computer core, the situation on the bridge grew more tense. Krax is firing first volley, the tactical officer shouted. Evasive maneuvers, Captain Lane ordered. Get us to that subspace corridor. The horizon shuddered as energy blasts struck its shields. The science vessel wasn't built for combat, and its defenses wouldn't last long against the Krax's flagship's weapons. In the computer core, Olivia watched as Nima placed her small hands against the main interface panel. The child closed her eyes and her tendrils began to glow with intense light. The computer systems responded strangely, displays flickering with alien symbols before returning to normal. What are you doing? Olivia asked softly. Teaching ship to see, Nima replied without opening her eyes. Subspace has patterns, like music. Ship needs to hear music. On the bridge, Lyra worked with the science team to locate the fading subspace corridor. There, she exclaimed, pointing to a reading on the display. Dimensional shift point coordinates locked. Helm, take us there now, Captain Lane ordered. The horizon turned sharply, accelerating toward the invisible point in space where the Krax's flagship had emerged. Behind them, the Dominion fired again, this time hitting the horizon's engine section. Direct hit, the engineering officer reported. Port engines damaged. Power fluctuating. In the computer core, Nima gasped as she felt the ship's pain. Her tendrils flared brightly, and the computers around her surged with energy. Helping, she whispered to Olivia. Ship needs more power. Somehow the child was channeling her own energy into the ship's systems, boosting the failing engines. Olivia felt the connection through their telepathic bond. Nima was giving part of herself to save them all. Don't hurt yourself, Olivia pleaded, concerned about the strain on the child. Nima's galaxy eyes opened, swirling with determination. Not hurt. This is what I was born to do. Royal gift. On the bridge, the tactical officer called out, Krax's vessel locking tractor beam. 5 seconds to contact. We're almost at the shift point, Commander Patel reported. But we need more speed to break through the subspace barrier. Suddenly, the ship's engines surged with unexpected power. The engineering officer looked at his readings in disbelief. Power levels spiking. The engines are operating beyond maximum capacity. Lyra smiled knowingly. Nima, she said simply. Captain Lane didn't question this miracle. Full power to forward shields. Take us into the corridor. The horizon shot forward directly toward the invisible point in space where subspace had been temporarily weakened. The Craxus tractor beam reached out, just missing the ship's stern as it accelerated. Subspace distortion increasing, the science officer reported. We're approaching the entry point.